And so what I'd like to do, first of all, is just mention again that every new era, every new age has a new MO. Every new age has a new MO. We have to learn what that MO is. If we try to do the new age in the old age MO, we'll wonder why we get wore out. We're spinning our wheels. Engines racing and the smoke's rolling. And it's like, why is it not working like it used to? It's because we're using the familiar of the old to try to get results in the new regime, the new order. Let me create a little bit more of a paradigm from practical experiences in our lives. So we have a baby. And a baby in the beginning, all they do is whine. And so mommy picks them up. That's what mommies do. And mommies are happy to do that. That's not a problem. But after a while, the baby is 2 years old. And he's whining, pick me up, pick me up. And mama's like, you know what? I will once in a while, but I can't do it nearly as often as I used to, nor would it be right for me to. Because as the baby grows, there is a need for learning to be more independent. Now, of course, that's a big spectrum. It takes 20 years. So, but anyway, that's what a mommy would do. Mommy and daddy, they would begin, listen to this, to wean us from always picking them up with every whine. Every whine signals mom's care. Well, eventually mom's going to say, I know it ain't that important. And besides, you need to learn a little bit of, what's the word I want to say? Capacity to bridge the gap between your crises. That's big words for a baby. Anyway, then, so mommy's always fed the baby. Spoon feed, here you go, baby, here you go, baby. And pretty soon the baby is a year, 2 years old, and mommy says, you know what? It's time you learn to feed yourself. I'm going to put a rubber spoon in your bowl, and you're going to have to feed yourself. No, mommy, it's much better if you feed me. No, you got to learn to feed yourself. We're coming into a new order. It's a new timing. It's a new stage of your maturity. Well, then we go on to mommy's always clothes baby. And pretty soon now the baby's 2 and 3 and 4 years old. And it's like, you need to be able to put your socks on, put your own pants on, put it on your t-shirt, do it yourself. No, mommy, it's so much easier when you do it. No, it's time to mature. We're going to have a new order here. It's a new regime. It's what humans do as they grow up. They have to learn to embrace more responsibility. Well, now we're up to, early teenage years, and mama has always fixed dinner. Always. And somewhere along the line, late teen years, something like that, and mama ain't home. She's figured, you know what? You can fend for yourself. You can fix your own dinner. But where's mommy? I want my dinner. No, pick up a burger on the way home at the Quick Trip or something, or McDonald's or something. So we have to learn our capacity and the necessity to mature gets pressed upon us. Mature mommies and daddies actually press that mature process upon us. Meaning responsible mommies and daddies do not cater to every whim, as it is commensurate with that stage of life. Got it? Somewhere along the line, Daddy, why don't you buy me a car? No, you need to get a job, earn some money, and buy that car on your own. And then guess what? With that comes responsibility to repair it and fix it and insurance and gas and all the stuff that goes with it. Okay, you get the point. Each new stage of life has a new order that is commensurate to and fitting for that stage of life. Well, now that's just on a microcosm. That's just a real small area to get hopefully a little bit of a paradigm for moving into a new age. In the old age, I think God was this is not 100%, but something like this. He says, well, you know what? I want to get you into the churches. You need to get into the churches because there's going to be the family of God there, and they're going to keep you safe from the boogeyman, and we'll try to keep you saved till you die and go to heaven. We don't know much beyond that, but, that's what I want to emphasize on you during the church age, if indeed that's what God calls this last age. We don't know. That's just what we've called it, the church age. But we're coming into the kingdom age, or the children of God age, or the age of God, which is what Fiorella thinks, the age of God. And there's going to be a very different MO. Well, why can't we just all go to church and be happy? Why can't we just all have church and be nice to one another? And why can't it be like the good old revival days? Why can't we just have goosebumps and, and all the stuff that went with it? By the way, I love goosebumps, and I love oil, and I love gold dust, and I love laughing, and I love crying, and I love all the stuff that we did. And we're going to do a lot more of it, but I feel like it's not going to be mandated as kind of a hallmark for one specific thing God does. He's going to say, now we got a whole toolbox of things we can do. I want you to learn to operate a mode of operation that is born of you living in heaven. And from the heavenly perspective, you then have earthly experiences. They're very different from the last one. The last age, we had very few heavenly experiences. Our paradigm was mostly earth-based, wishing, hoping, expecting that if the Bible's true, I'll get to go to heaven. This one is much more heaven-based. Okay, now taking it a little more specific point here, and I want to highlight a writing that came from Fiorella, and this is a quote of hers. She says, in an encounter, I saw a large host of healing angels. Now this point is primarily going to be about angels and why they can or cannot move on our behalf. You might think, well, once an angel, always an angel. Once a saint or son of God, always a son of God, and shouldn't that all be the same forever? Well, maybe not. Now, I'm not saying Fiorella is 100% true, but I think there's something going on here. I saw a host of healing angels waiting to be released in the earth, but they'd been there a very long time, but could not move into their mandates. I asked the Lord why, and the Lord impressed in my heart, it's because the people were stuck in the past, in the previous glory, trying to resuscitate past healing moves. But the realm of the angelic is not mandated to move like it did before. Therefore, it cannot move until people catch the new mandate, which is how they're mandated to move, and begin to partner with that mandate and with the angels. There's a new mandate of healing for this age, and it's going to look different than the previous eras. The Lord said, the angels will begin to become active when we recognize their true mandate and when we engage them from that level of agreement. Think of this just a second, little aside. In the Old Covenant, we didn't know much about God because he was kind of a fearsome, stern God. And so angels just came down and they helped us with powerful messages. And every time it scared the bejeebies out of us, and they always had to say, fear not. But it was kind of tough. Excuse me. Angels came and they weren't really friendly so much. There were a few times it seemed like they got a little friendly. They ate dinner with a few people. But mostly they were just kind of these austere heavenly beings that helped us through a tough time. Well, I think that we're coming into something very much different, and I think the angel's like, okay, I want to get more in keeping with our real mandate, and that is to come alongside you as partners, to work with you as a partner, as opposed to somehow this austere, delegated emissary from heaven. So you'll have to elaborate on that as the Lord gives you clarity. Healing in this new era will not look just like curing diseases, although that's definitely a part of it. But what God is after is immortality and the transfiguration of reality that this brings. And this will bring the healing because in the new reality, sickness, disease, and death cannot exist. So in other words, instead of angels coming and say, well, okay, I got a package of healing for you today because, well, the Lord knows you need healing, so we'll bring a package of healing. How about if the Lord now has opened up the whole realm of the heavenlies, and along with that comes this amazing revelation of immortality and transfiguration, which obviously immortality means life forever, not just in our spirit, but in our soul and body too. Well, with that comes health and wholeness, freedom from sickness and disease. Now, I realize this is a big steak to chew on, but I feel like the Lord is just throwing us out some tantalizing bait. Do you want to go after this? Let's look at the last paragraph. Our faith must rise to new levels to mobilize the resources and the realities of heaven. Who are those? Some of those resources and realities are the heavenly host, meaning the angels. There's a new heavenly power grid in the earth. We can't reboot the past, so we must welcome the new, so that the new potential in us and the anointing in us can rise to the divine measure of this new era. Okay, there was a lot in there, but I feel like there are some really big, juicy gold nuggets that we've all been dabbling in. You know, where did we go today? We went 2,000 years ago in an activation. Hello, that's a lot more freedom than most of religion experiences. Then we went ahead in time, 6 weeks, and we visited a gathering. We're exploring and discovering and establishing new, not just revelations, but experiences that I think are in keeping with this new age. And again, this is just my encapsulation or title for this new age, or motto is, instead of just being earthbound Christians, he wants us to become heaven-based sons. Heaven-based sons. And that's what we're experiencing in. So, if we're just earthbound Christians, angels like, well, I guess I got to be this austere heavenly emissary, and I'm going to bring you a message. But what if you and I learn to become heaven-based sons and daughters, and we're the Hebrews 12:22, where we're in this place where there's innumerable angels and joyful assembly, and we learn to become friends. We learn the MO of angels. We learn the communication process between God and angels. We watch it firsthand. We learn to speak as oracles, and the angels say, yep, that sounds like my Father. And the synergism of that environment becomes much more viable, much more profound, much more effective. Now that's one tiny little perspective of coming into alignment with the new age that is dawning upon us. I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe you got some comments, but it's just food for thought and things to put in our processor as we're dialoguing with God. We're experimenting and exploring with God. He says, hey, let's try that one thing over here. Let's try that on. Not as an earthbound Christian, but as a heaven-based son. This is your greater reality now. And he says in the process, I'm going to show you a lot of things. One of those things is going to be how to partner with angels, I think, and not just an official basis. That's kind of what we've done in the past, kind of an official formal relationship. I believe we're going to become truly friends, very fond of our angels. that the ones that the Lord manifests and gives to us, I think we're going to become very much friends, very fond of them. Literally, that's certainly my case. Several I know by name that I use frequently, and I tell you, when I speak of them, just even this moment, tears rise in my eyes that just are indicative of my fondness. My relationship, our history together has been so filled with delight and wonder and trophies that it just makes like, why would I ever want to do anything without you? So, and when angels, I think, again, when angels begin to see that and say, oh, you really do not only value us, not just for a formality, but for a partnership and friendship, I think heaven's going to open up even more dynamically to us. Okay, anybody want to make comment on that?